Welcome back, folks. This is the third video, I think. Who knows? I can't count ever. Yeah, the third video here. Hopefully a quick one, but just gonna try and give you a couple of pointers on kind of how to get started with an Aurelia project or with a new Aurelia project. There's a lot of different resources out there for you and a lot of different ways for you to kind of get going. With different languages, with different back-end solutions, different testing frameworks. Obviously, in today's modern JavaScript or web development world, there must be, I don't know, tens of thousands of different things, tools, and at least I'd say millions of different permutations of different combinations of tools that you can use to create basically the same damn thing with minimal performance differences, and I don't want to start any hot topics or debates over this. The fact of the matter is there's a million ways to skin the cat, especially in the web development world. So all you've got to do is just find one that works for you. Experiment, try things out, and I'm going to try and point you in the direction of where you can get a good foundation on a lot of different ways to get your feet wet in a lot of different stacks, I guess is what we'll call it, right? Myself personally, I have found the Aurelia CLI, which we'll get into, to be my favorite and to be the easiest to work with and to be the cleanest. Some people like to do other things like these skeleton projects, right? If you just do a quick search for Aurelia skeleton, the first link here will bring you to the GitHub page there for Aurelia. And you'll see these different skeleton projects were basically just starter packs, right? Starter projects for you to get going and start a project with your core setup already ready to go. Your what do they call it? Your boilerplate setup, right? Your boilerplate package. I don't believe these are available through npm at all. You'll have to well, it looks like here the skeletons are only supported. It looks like nope, I don't think they are. This is some random note. Don't worry about that. But basically you can clone these different projects right off of GitHub into your own local directories, and you can start working on Aurelia projects just like that. The name obviously will tell you kind of what the stack is, or kind of what the concept is for each particular project. So you can see here, this is using the ESNext, the JavaScript, the latest and greatest JavaScript version, I guess, with the ASP.NET Core backend services. Basically just getting you set up with an ASP.NET Core project ready to go. For you to start writing your code using the latest ESNext language for JavaScript. So that's one. I know, and obviously the same version here for TypeScript. And a lot of folks like Webpack. I've heard nothing but issues with Webpack, and like I say, it's May 11th now, 2017. It's the first release has been out for quite a while. I personally, I despise Webpack. I think it's a pain in the ass to set up. When things are already kind of a pain in the ass with all the different package managers and TypeScripts and JavaScripts and ASP.NET cores. Am I working in Visual Studio? Am I working in Visual Studio Code? Am I going to do a Java backend with Swing? For me, Webpack just was the final straw. Like I don't know why. Some people are probably gonna curse me for that, but if you like Webpack, fucking A, there's your Webpack project to get you going there. Good luck is all I gotta say. I have heard it's gotten better, but good luck. So that's basically one way to get started. Use the skeleton projects, and you can also obviously look at these projects and just kind of get a feel for the project structure and the layout and the source. Although I will actually take this opportunity now to really comment about project structure and best practices and guidelines. I'll throw a link into the description for really the only real style guide, right? Style guide, I guess, is a good way to is a popular way of describing how you should set up your app. There's really only one style guide that I've been able to find, at least one worth mentioning, and that was like, I think somebody put a blog post up there and had some good info. I think that was like a year ago plus, a year plus, over 12 months ago. Since then, a lot of things have changed, even within these skeleton projects. So, if you're not very familiar with how to set up a modern web project or web app, SPA, multi-page app, whatever, I'm going to give you that link, but it may not be the best thing for you, but I'll give it to you nonetheless so you can have that info. But that brings me to the next point, and again, to the way that I found is most useful and the least headache prone, and really the cleanest way to get going with the new Aurelia project, and that is simply to get the CLI, right? The command line interface. Now, if you're not familiar with using, the command prompt or command lines, whether it's Windows or Linux, or Mac OS, whatever, don't be afraid. They've made this really, really easy to use and really, really simple to get a new project going. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of step you through the basics of how to just get a new project going, and how to get the CLI first, right? I'm going to assume that you have Node.js installed and NPM. I think when you download Node and you install it, NPM comes along with it. I'm going to assume that you have that already installed, or that you at least know how to do that. If you don't, just go to Node.js.com or whatever the hell the website is, and and figure it out. You're smart folks. I think you'll be able to get that figured out. If not, ask me in the comments section. Obviously, I'll be able to help out with any issues you might have. Otherwise, yeah. So what we'll do is we'll want to install the Aurelia CLI, which is just as simple as npm install, and you'll want to do a -G to install it globally so that you can actually use it. Aurelia install -G. npm install -G Aurelia -CLI, right? Perfect. Now I've already got this installed on my machine, obviously, because again I use it, but that's what you'll want to do to get it installed on your machine. And once you actually have that installed on your machine, you'll be able to start typing or use it to create a new project and do some other neat things with it. I wish I hadn't. Well, I'm just going to cancel out of this because I don't know how long that's going to take. But yeah, and also one other thing, I've run into some issues before. If you have any issues installing it, installing the CLI, it's a good idea to do an npm cache clean, right? And that'll clean out your cache, your npm cache. Sometimes I've run into some issues with the Aurelia CLI, getting that going. Just FYI, just in case. The latest version as of today, in May 11, 2017, is 0.29.0. That is the latest release, and let me just double check here to be doubly sure. Yes, 2.29, whatever, right? So that's the latest release. If you go ahead and you just type in AU in any random directory, you're going to get this really awesome interface. All right, maybe not, but it does the trick, right? You see two options here. You've got AU help, which obviously is going to give you the same thing because there's not really much to it. Otherwise, you're going to do a new project, which, as you can see here, it says type in AU space new, give it a project name, and then if you'd like, you can go ahead and just create the project here in the current directory, or it will create a new directory, for you, a new subdirectory. Obviously, whatever you do there is your own preference, but you go through the command line here, the interface. You type in AU new. We'll just do test project, and we'll just do it here. Now, actually, we'll just do a new one, and you see it's got a bunch of menu options and menu items here for you to choose from. You can choose to set up a default next project, which is the default option, or you can choose a TypeScript. I personally have enjoyed using TypeScript, just because I'm a noob. I'll admit I like IntelliSense, and I like being able to get clues on, you know, what options I have when I'm writing code. So I've enjoyed TypeScript, and I've been using Visual Studio Code as my default code editor. Obviously, you can choose whatever you like. Through the CLI here, they basically operate under a couple of assumptions, I'd say, and that's just basically that, you know, the grand majority of folks are going to be using either Visual Studio Code for their editor, or they're going to be using Visual Studio with ASP.NET Core for their editor. Either way, whatever you do, go through the menu options and set up a couple different projects with a couple of different, choosing different ones, and see what works out with you, what works out for you. Play around with it. Do a couple of test projects. Build a couple to-do apps, whatever, hello world apps. Figure out what your process, what process flow kind of works for you, and really just play with it. And that's the best advice that I can give you. Project structure, when you set up a new project, it's going to give you a very good basic project structure for you to get going. And actually, the app itself will run. If you create a new project, I'm not going to actually, you know what? I'll save that for the next video, actually, because it can get kind of involved. But yeah, for the most part, like I said, there's a couple of options for you in terms of getting started with an Aurelia project. Again, the CLI is my preferred and suggested route. I would recommend sticking with the CLI, especially as it's going to continue to grow and it's going to get better. There's going to be a lot of other features that are going to be added in, outside of what's already there. So I would suggest the CLI. If you don't want to do the CLI, obviously, again, I mentioned the the GitHub skeleton packages, or the skeleton repos. Yeah, the skeleton projects that are out there. Go ahead, like I said, play around with it, get familiar with it. While you're reading through the docs, try out a couple of different things. If you've already got a workflow that you have worked on before and it works for you, chances are you'll be able to fit that workflow in with Aurelia, or I guess Aurelia in with your current workflow. It's just going to take a couple of tests and a couple of trial and error run-throughs for you to get it all down. But yeah, that's the best advice I had for you. Thank you again for taking the time. Sorry, I think I went a little bit overboard on this one, longer than I would have liked. But subscribe, leave your feedback. If you want me to shut the hell up, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'll just never shut up. All right, thanks guys for watching. We'll catch you on the next vid. Bye.